Good morning, Elizabeth Hudson. Good morning, everybody. I'm here today and very honored to be interviewing this young lady, Elizabeth Hudson. All right, she's a screenwriter, actress, producer, event host, spiritual life coach, and media contributor. She wrote the screenplay for a movie called Baby Moon, which is a comedy about women. A must-see movie. In addition, she's been in several other films: Desert Vows, Lifehouse Blind, Scrubs. You remember that? That was a TV show. Las Vegas. Remember Las Vegas? I used to watch it all the
You
time.
did, yeah.
All right. Who were you in there?
I played George Hamilton's wife.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Super. All right, and many, many other movies, folks. And she does, we're going to all learn and share this today together. Alchemy. I know how to say it. I don't know what it is. But stay tuned. Please subscribe, like, and share, follow, and all that good stuff. Elizabeth, good morning.
Good
I
morning.
thank you for coming.
Ori, it's an honor. Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. Elizabeth, let's begin. Where are you from originally? Where were you born?
I grew up in a small town called Wacabuck, New York.
Wakaba.
Wacabuck, New York. It's pretty much a lake and a post office, and that's about it.
Boy,
So
that
that's where I
must be
grew up.
really small. Because I'm from a small town
Yeah.
in New York called Rome, New York.
Oh, yeah.
But I
Okay.
never heard of Wakaba.
Yeah, Wacabuck's northern Westchester. So about an hour from Manhattan, believe it or not, but lakes and woods and pretty rural.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm right in the center of the state.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So we're both New Yorkers.
Native New Yorkers.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm quite familiar. I've been to Scarsdale, Westchester many times.
Very close.
Yeah. Yeah. And as a child, what were your goals? What did you want, did your dreams that you wanted to become in life?
Oh, I love that you asked that. I always had an affinity toward imagination and magic and creation and manifestation. So I was always doing creative play and coming up with ways that I could connect to nature and ways that I can connect to spirituality, which I don't know if I understood it as that as a child. I thought it more as play, and I spent a lot of times outdoors. So that was an inherent connection to nature and to the earth and to, creative play in that way. So I grew up in a lake and making forts in the woods and things like that.
Man, that's amazing, 'cause I never heard anybody that young even thinking about things like that.
I remember I was asked a question by, I think it was my maybe third or fourth grade teacher, and the question was to think as homework for the night, what is your most valued possession? And I had long bus rides back in the day without a phone, so I would sit and gaze out the window. And I remember thinking about that, and I was like, well, it's not a thing. It's not my house. It's not my dog. And I realized it was my imagination. My imagination was my most valued possession. And that really kind of launched a perspective for me into my own delving into the inner self and my later pursuit of meditation and all things metaphysical. Realizing that so much of our power lies within our creativity and our imagination.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
Right? But we know this as children, Sometimes life makes us forget. We kind of lose touch with that at times. And that's the trick of life, is always finding and remaining in that innocence and that playfulness and levity.
But tell me how you became an actress, though.
Acting kind of
Because it
found
all
me.
goes with the creativity.
Yeah. It was something I had secretly wished for, but wouldn't say out loud. And I was kind of discovered at my boarding school. So I went to a boarding school in Connecticut, And one day we were told this casting director was coming to school, and let's all go down to the theater and see if we can meet with her. And so on a whim, I went. And I sat in front of her and she said, "Oh my God, you're exactly what we're looking for this part." And I was like, "Oh, wow. Okay." And then, fast forward to I'm getting flown out by Paramount to screen test and signing contracts with Paramount and getting an agent and going through all this stuff, having done one act play at my boarding school at 18 years old. So that was a little overwhelming.
So at 18 years old, you had a contract with Paramount. You had an agent for one show.
Yes.
What agency was it?
I think at the time it was an agency out of New York called DGRW. They were a small boutique agency that the casting director had connected me with. But suffice to say, I was a little out of my depth, having done nothing other than a one-act play at school, and suddenly I'm screen testing for Sherry Lansing and Stanley Jaffe at Paramount. So that was a lot.
Holy mackerel. That is a lot. That's amazing.
Yeah, and I think I kind of put the stopper on for myself because it seemed like too much. So I didn't get the role, but I still had a contract with Paramount, and everybody said to me, "Oh, aren't you going to quit now and move out to Hollywood?" And I thought, no, I'm going to go back to college and study Shakespeare and do my degree. So I did.
And so you did that.
Yeah,
You
so I
finished
went back to
college.
college. Yeah.
So how did you end up here in Hollywood?
Well, so eventually, after college, I lived in Manhattan for a while, and I was pursuing acting. At that point, I was doing, different jobs, and I worked for Sotheby's for a while, and I worked for Calvin Klein, and I had different jobs in Manhattan. But my dream at that point, the seed was planted. I had caught the bug and wanted to move out here. So I moved out in my mid-20s and cocktail waitressed and, ran around with back in the day, we had the Thomas Guide maps, that we'd always be driving around with a silly.
Your portfolio.
Yeah, right. Well, no, the guide of the map.
Oh,
trying
the
to
guide.
find,
Yeah,
trying to
yeah,
find
the
my way
Thomas
around
map.
the city. But yeah, I loved living out here in the 90s. LA in the 90s was really
great here
it was
then.
so great. Yeah, I'm a little nostalgic for it. But that was a good
I,
time here.
I lived here in 71,
Oh, yeah.
but I
The
went
year I
back
was born.
east, moved back east after a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 1979, I moved back to San Francisco with my second wife.
Okay.
And I moved down here after we divorced, or actually before we divorced.
Mm-hmm.
1982, something like that. And I've been here since.
Okay. I know it's a hard place to quit once you get used to the weather and the variety of
Well, I'll
life
tell
out
you,
here.
when I first came here, Los Angeles, the state, it was so beautiful. You could eat off the streets; they
Yeah.
were so clean. The weather, you didn't need your heat in the winter. You didn't need air conditioning in the summer. It was perfect year
Right. It
round.
was temperate.
And I don't want to get into politics, but politics has ruined this state.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're here for. Today we're here about you.
Yeah.
So, but I've been involved in Hollywood for well over 50 years on the backside,
Okay.
taking care of problems. Agents, studio, they call me the real Ray Donovan.
Ooh.
So I've done a lot. I know a lot. And, but I haven't been on the side that you were on. And I know it's a tough journey, okay?
Sure.
And you've done a lot of work in Hollywood. And it's not often that you meet somebody that changes, all right? No matter what our age is, once you're an actor or an actress, that's what you do,
Right.
all right? But it's all changed now. A lot of
Yeah.
people getting away from it, and you've done that.
Right.
And tell me how you did that and why you did that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's to your point, it is a it's a big shift to be able to identify as an actor and then eventually let that go. It was something that evolved me, meaning it got me into my courage and pushed me into, out of my comfort zone and to try things. And I was always a shy child, so I was more introverted. So to get out there and get on stage and put myself out felt very challenging. And I'm glad I did it. But once I had children, I shifted my priorities. And I think there was a period of time where I was very, very impressed with my emotions. I think that there's a process with us as we evolve as humans that we are, watching our emotions almost objectively as kind of fascinating, right? And so that was my journey with acting. I enjoyed delving into exploring my emotions, exploring my ability to project, the human capacity. And then once I became a mother, I remember a very distinct audition that I was presented with, and it was very dark. It was a crime drama, and it was this, scene where you're like chained up and the dogs are about to eat you alive. And I was like, no, I don't want to feel that. I don't want to imagine that. And I refused the audition. And my agent was like, what? And I just thought, well, I guess that's not going to make me Meryl Streep, but I just don't want to. I was still nursing my son. He was like 8 months old. And I thought, I think I might be done with this. And so at that point, I started delving deeper into the metaphysical and deeper into meditation and exploring spiritual aspects of myself, as well as my heart opening as a mother and exploring the depths of that too. So that's really what shifted me.
Well, you've had that since you were a child.
Right.
And it's remained with you, and you've been able to turn that in to teaching others this.
Yeah.
It's called, what you call it, alchemy?
Well, my podcast is called Sacred Alchemy. It was called Sexual Alchemy, but that seemed a little too provocative. But the sacred alchemy, alchemizing, right? The alchemy is the literal act of transmuting a base metal, right, into gold. That's the act of alchemy. And so if we think about it metaphorically, it's changing our more banal to the more spiritual, to the more profound, to the more magical. And so it's our basic nature that we are as humans, that we have this capacity for spiritual and infinite depth. And so when we go inward, when we tap into our third eye and we meditate, we open up that divine capacity within ourselves.
Third eye. I first learned that from Shirley MacLaine.
I loved her books. I read all her books.
So did I.
You really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
I got very much into that there. You don't want to hear about that story because we're talking about you.
No, I want to hear it, though.
You want to hear it?
Yeah.
My second wife and I, even after I left her, because she wanted to have a child. I didn't want another child with another woman.
Okay.
But I moved down to Los Angeles. I was living on the Wilshire Corridor. And I was putting a deal together with Indonesia, buying their gold.
Yeah.
And my partner was a former CIA guy. He lived in Spokane, Washington. Great guy. And he knew the president and his wife very well. He went with Nixon and Kissinger in open trade with China. So he knew all these people.
Okay.
And the way we were going to do it, we were going to hire 50 mercenaries because there's still a lot of piracy at sea, and do a test run. And we were going to bring it to the free zone in London, then transport it, because I sold it to the Vatican.
Oh, wow.
It was a multi-billion-dollar deal. There's very few people in the world at that time that had that kind of money.
Right.
Vatican definitely did. And I'm laying on my couch, it's a Sunday, and I get a call from my wife. You're going to get on a ship, don't go on that boat, It's going to blow up. You're going to die.
Oh my goodness.
I said, what are you talking about? You're going, I know. How do you know this here? Because I was going to be on that boat.
You were. Oh my gosh.
All right? What happened is her next door neighbor, whose name was Lark, her friend from Las Vegas came in named Jackie Colada, and she was a psychic.
Mm.
And the moment my wife walked in to meet her, she saw me. I never met this girl. She didn't know who I was.
Wow.
But she read me through my wife. And it was crazy. And so the next day, what I did, I went to a psychic here on Beverly Boulevard.
Okay.
Okay? I found a psychic. I went there. She said the same thing.
Oh my goodness.
And actually, what happened was Benno died of a heart attack. All right? While he was having sex with a young girl in his office, actually.
Oh my goodness.
And without him, we couldn't do the deal, so it never happened. But I got the other thing this psychic told me on Beverly was I was driving a Cadillac Eldorado.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, you got to stop driving that car. You're going to die. Somebody's going to die in that car you're driving.
Whoa.
I said, what? No. My friend Steve, who lives in the valley, done very well for himself, but, you know, he was a dealer
Okay.
of drugs.
Okay.
And if people didn't have the money, he took something from them. In this case, he took the Cadillac. I knew he had a couple other cars. So I called him up. I said, Steve, I said, you got to come and get this car.
Right.
I said, he's right. The only car I got is that Subaru, and you don't want to drive that. I said, I don't care. Bring me the Subaru. I
This
said,
one's
take
got
this
bad.
car. He took the car. On Sunday evening, he sells the car.
Okay.
The two guys. And they got shot in the car
Wow.
and died.
Mm.
He called me up. He said, you're not going to believe this. He told me I was oldie. The psychic was right. So I got very much just Jackie and she would read me all the time. You know, I had to cut some hair, send it to her, and then she advised me to read Shirley MacLaine's books, and I got into that really.
Yeah.
Like you can't imagine. People don't understand it. I remember I moved to Florida, and I was doing a deal. And, of course, a lot of my deals in my lifetime were illegal, all right?
Okay.
And I get this call out of the blue from Jackie from Las Vegas. And she tells me, you're doing a deal with a guy, he's a rat, and you're going to end up in jail.
Oh my.
All right?
All right.
Now, this guy was the brother of a captain with the Bonanno crime family, and that's how we met this guy. Okay? So, of course, we trusted him. We trusted his brother. We trusted him. And I stopped, and sure as shit, the guy was an informant trying to set me up.
Wow. And
And that phone call from her, how does she know? How do these psychics know this thing?
right.
It's,
Well, and that's a big
I had
question,
no
right?
idea.
Well, and what that speaks to, right, is that there's so much beyond what we tangibly know, right? There's so much beyond this physical world, and that is just as real and even more real. And that's what we come from and what we go back to, right? So we are taking on this temporary suit for our time here, temporary personality and set of circumstances. But where I coach from is soul, right? So we're coming from the space of why are these events? Why is this circumstance happening in my life? What is this here to teach me from a soul perspective? And that's really what it's all about. We make mistakes, we go through challenges, there are consequences, and that's why we're here. We're here at Earth School to go through it all.
Yeah. So, yeah, so well, here we are. I'm interviewing you, and
I
I'm
love
doing
the
all the
stories, though.
talking.
No, but it's relevant. It's
I normally
fascinating.
don't do that.
I love it. I love it. Well, and Shirley MacLaine was, her book Out on a Limb, and she was really going out on a limb at the
Yeah.
time because that was considered quack, right? That was considered like wacky and woo woo, right? But her talking about reincarnation and, basically looking at things from the more metaphysical, right? And that fascinates me. I think that's what it's all about. The rest of the stuff is like, yeah, all right. But that's the stuff that really inspires me, interests me.
Now, you're not a reader of people, are you?
Not,
You don't do
no,
that.
I do, no, not specifically.
So, specifically, what do you do? I mean,
So,
are you still writing Hollywood scripts?
no, that was
No?
a period of time that I was in, it kind of happened, but I studied literature and writing in college. That was what my degree was in. So it was kind of a natural next step for me in terms of still being in Hollywood while my children were in school. I wrote a few screenplays and had some success with them, but
And that
that's a
was a
whole
college
other.
in
That's a whole
Connecticut,
other. I went to college in Vermont.
Vermont.
Yeah,
What
University
college was that?
University of Vermont. Yeah, froze my butt off.
Yeah,
It is
it's cold there.
arctically cold
I've been
there.
there in the wintertime.
You,
Well, look at upstate New York.
yeah, exactly, same thing.
Forget about it.
Right.
They
But yeah, so
already
my
got tendencies.
coaching, I'm a spiritual coach. So I have been a Kundalini yoga teacher of 20 years, which is a meditative practice. It's movement, meditation, breath work, mantra chanting, all that stuff. And I translate that into my one-on-one coaching with people, which is working with them from whatever's going on in your life, whatever you're dealing with, challenges, opportunities. And we look at it from a perspective of what is this here for the growth of your soul.
All right. What is a spiritual? I never heard of a spiritual coach.
Sure.
So, what is a spiritual coach?
It's the opportunity to look at things from your spirit, right? From why, when we look at things just in the third dimension, right? If we look at our reality as third dimension, there are multiple other levels of reality that we as humans don't necessarily have access to, but we can open into them. And so when we're looking at things from our spirit, right? If we're looking at it, we're omniscient, all knowing, and we were looking down at our life's journey, going, why is this presenting right now? Why am I having these challenges? Why am I having this heartbreak? What is this here to teach me? Then we look at things from this sense that everything is benevolent. It's all working for us for our own evolution. And when we look at it that way, we can see the opportunities rather than just the obstacles. And so that's really what I try to teach people to do, is that we have that inner knowing when we tune in, when we tap into ourselves, when we get back to that innocence, like we were talking about, that we knew as children. And when we remember that we're all parts of God. We're all divine. We're just having a human experience. So when you look at life from that perspective, that's how you manage things with more grace.
Now, obviously, you didn't study that in college. I never heard of a course like that.
No.
So, you had to get educated in it some way.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
I was always a spiritual
Because you
seeker.
were always into it since you were a child.
Yeah. I mean, I loved studying philosophy. I loved studying theology. I loved studying different perspectives of religious, ideologies. But I began my spiritual seeking in college and beyond. And then once I started studying Kundalini yoga, which is the practice of opening up the channels within the body, activating that you've heard of the term nirvana, right?
Yeah,
You know, nirvana
Nirvana.
is, you know, so the state of nirvana for yogis is that state of bliss, that cosmic bliss, opening up our ability to connect to divine energy. And so the practice of meditation and different movements, which is like a yoga practice, right? Asanas, which are the movements or poses, give you access to that state within ourselves that we all have. We all have this divine energy that runs through us, but we've never been taught how to use it or connect to it. And so ideally, when you have a practice that gives you an opportunity to calm your nervous system, slow your breath, and be more present, it starts to flow. We start to reawaken and remember it. And that's the biggest thing that I can share with people and give to people is that you already have everything you need. Nothing from outside of you is going to give you something you don't already have.
I want to go back just for a moment to the first name that you had.
Okay.
Okay, it was what? Sexual something?
Oh, it was Sexual Alchemy was the name of my
Sexual
podcast.
alchemy.
Yes.
So, sex is something that we all enjoy, and obviously, but how, in the sexual way, that you came up with that name had to have something to do with the sex. So, I'd
Yeah.
like you to explain that.
Sure.
All right, for our listeners here.
Absolutely. So Sexual Alchemy, which I've changed to Sacred Alchemy, the sacral energy, you know, if you talk about the sacral chakra, the sacrum of the body is the pelvis, is the region of the sex organs. And that is from which we come, right? That is the basis of life itself. That is the origin of our being. And so when we look at sexual energy as creative energy, we realize that it is part and parcel and innately the connection to the creator. And so when we look at sexuality as divine union with creator, there is a whole different way that we can look at our basic being, our basic sense of self as human beings, that it's not shameful or dirty or naughty to be sexual. It's in fact quite divine. And so to reimagine sexuality in a divine way is something that I'm seeking to invite people into a different understanding.
Now, how does somebody find you? Okay. For those of you, I'm sure a lot of you are interested, how somebody contact you? Is it all on a local basis? You do Zoom? You meet people all over? Is it
Sure.
like you do that?
I do work with people on Zoom, so
So,
like we can do Zoom sessions.
Let everybody know how to contact you.
Sure.
Okay.
My website is elizabeth-hudson.com. And I'm on Instagram, Elizabeth Hudson 11, and TikTok and Facebook and all those things.
Okay,
We can
that
provide
will
all
be
that.
under the tag. I'll put that. You
Yeah.
text me that there, so I'll make sure it's there. So
Thank you.
somebody wants to get a hold of you.
Thank you.
Okay. This is a very interesting topic,
Thank you. I find it fascinating.
and you've been doing this for how long now?
The podcast, I started in 2019. So I've been doing it.
You've been doing it
that
a
long.
while now.
Yeah.
You got a podcast.
Yeah. Sacred,
Where do you
Sacred
do
Alchemy.
that from?
Just on Zoom.
Huh?
So I can get, I just record it on Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's monthly. And I have a wide variety of people. Maybe you'll be on my podcast too.
All right.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, we always. Definitely. Anything else you'd like to add at this time?
This has been great. No, I've loved our conversation. I like the arc that, we've been able to share stories. It's been a treat talking with you.
Well, you hear me talking more than you, I think. I don't know.
I love it. I think it melded perfectly.
It's it's a subject that psychic and all that there. I managed Peter James and I got into ghosts, so very inquisitive, and I study things to get
right.
into
You
it,
told me that.
you know. And I managed Peter James on the Queen Mary, the ship,
Right.
which I had a company from London because they were big on TV at the time. My friend Carl, and they filmed it for a week. And they said Queen Mary is the most haunted place
I've heard
on
that.
earth.
Yeah.
And I watched Peter, and I'm going to tell you something. I've heard him talking to ghosts.
Yeah.
And it's out there. It's on YouTube someplace. You could see it. But I'll never forget the first tour we did. We always would have a dinner with everybody, and the maximum we could have was 30 people. And the first one was right after Christmas. It was on a Friday. And I'm at the dinner, and we had 30 people, and we would have dinner. We charged $100 or $150 per person. And that included a dinner and a question and answer with Peter James.
Okay.
And I'm listening to these people, and I noticed they're from New York, from Arkansas, from all over the country. So I says, all these people from out of town, I said, I'd like to talk to you. So I took them to the side. I said, would you imagine you were probably visiting relatives here for the holidays, and you saw that Peter was here? And they looked at me like I was the biggest idiot on earth. And they said, the moment we heard that Peter James was here, we bought our airline tickets and hotel reservations. I
Okay.
said, holy crap, I can't believe it. And he did 2 of those a night. Friday and Saturday night were the only nights, and it was, I mean, one time I had Hugh Hefner and some Playgirls there. All right? I mean, that's the kind of people that really much into that there.
Yeah.
So, and now I learned something new with you, and I want to get into it more. So maybe perhaps we might have to do
Do
another
a part 2.
interview and get more into it and do a part 2.
I'd love to.
But I want to thank you very much,
It's
all
such
right,
a
for
pleasure.
coming here. It's a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you.
Folks, remember, you got to contact her. We learn something every day. If we open up our minds, there's always something to learn. Thank you, Elizabeth. I
Thank you,
appreciate
Ori.
this, sir.